What up, YouTube? Jeep and Bubba here, and Adventure Russ. Today we're at my shop, and we're doing all kind of stuff, mountain beadlocks, and Johnny's out there putting a winch on his Gladiator, burning firewood. But we're gonna put a solar panel on my hood, and I'm gonna give you a full review. So this is sort of an install video, but I'm actually gonna show you how this works in the field by doing a few tests with it installed and off, running a fridge, letting it sit. So let's get installing. First things first. And Russ is going to help me here with some camera work in a second. But, little soap and water. Make sure this thing's clean before we put it on. This is the third time I'm cleaning it. Make sure it's not too waxy. We've got to put a vinyl wrap down first, so let's get started. We on?
Yep.
Cool. So, I read the instructions. I don't do that often. But this is the Cascadia VSS, and this is their 85-watt solar panel. So, basically, they have some good instructions. What they want you to do is make sure that the surface area is completely clean. Whether you use some alcohol or some soapy water, just make sure it's absolutely clean. So I've actually cleaned this area 4 times, and now I'm going to spray it down with some soapy water, but I took a lot of the soap out. There's just 1 drop of Dawn in this little spray. And you're going to really coat this thing. Turn my back to you for a minute. But you want to super coat this, and what we're doing is they have an optional vinyl that goes down. That's going to save your paint versus putting the 3M adhesive directly onto the paint. Now, something else I did was I took an infrared thermometer and I tested the temperature on the hood because it's a little bit cold today. And I was about 65 degrees, so I used the heat gun, and you're going to need one anyways. And went ahead and warmed it up, turned the heat on in here, and we're about 75 on the hood right now. So, got this nice and wet. The other thing is, before you put your vinyl on, you're going to want to flatten that out. So I've got it laid out right now with some weight on it, and you're going to spray the adhesive side with this. And that way you're able to move it around, and then they give you a squeegee. We're going to go ahead and squeegee it out, put a heat gun on it, and let it completely dry out. Alright guys, me and Russ got that laid on. Made sure it was super wet. That way we're able to move it around. We got it right where we want it. So I'm going to start using a heat gun and a squeegee and start getting that soapy water out of there. So use the adhesion promoter before we put it on. Make sure that the vinyl is clean. Me and Russ set it up on here. Make sure you do not bend it. They stress that quite a lot. And went ahead and pulled the center pieces of adhesive off and just one of the corners of the adhesive. So now I'm going to pull it completely off and say take about 10 minutes and just keep running your hand over it, and then we'll run our wire. So you definitely want to have 2 people to help you put this on there, but we're going to go ahead and get this thing stuck down. So I just started that edge, so now I can work my way around and pull that off. That's how you do it. And once you take a little time to push that down, go back with some alcohol or some soap or water and clean that adhesion promoter off, because you don't want that to leave any marks on your paint. Now you can measure this all out. I use the old eyeball method, and I think it's going to turn out pretty good. We got it wired, and what we did is run it through the hood. Now Russ held the hood all the way back to give me the optimal gap. Stuff underneath there is super clean. What I did was stick, using their adhesive, the control box to my fuse box. Now it might be different depending on what vehicle you have, and it was a very, very easy connection. Put one on the power, one on the negative, connected the solar connectors. Super easy, stuffed my wires in here. I have a green light flashing saying my battery's charging. I've got a yellow light on saying my battery's good, and I've got 12.5 volts right now. So we're gonna roll it out in what little sun we have left for the day. Just see if we're getting any more juice. I'll put the multimeter on it. That sucked. I'm gonna put a multimeter on it and keep rolling. I'll cut it. I'm gonna put the multimeter on it and see how much voltage we're actually getting. And then if you hang on in this video, during the week, I'm gonna do a test with my fridge in the back, one with it connected and one with it disconnected, and we'll see, you know, basically what we're getting out of this thing and what it's doing for us. All right, guys, we let it sit out here for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. Went from 12.5 to 12.61. We basically have run out of daylight. We got a little bit there, but I'd like to thank Adventure Russ there for helping out behind the camera and helping with the install, and we'll show you, give you a little review on how well it does with our fridge during the week. Hey guys, so today I've got my fridge plugged in, my 12 volt in the back. Drove it here from my house. Right now it's at 42 degrees. I've got it set for 38, so it's right now it's cooling off. Started out at 51. I drive about 30 minutes to get here every morning, so kind of gave it time to cool down a little bit. Made sure the battery was completely charged up, and we started out at 13.5 volts. Excuse me, 13 volts. And so I just parked the Jeep out in the sun, got the Jeep turned off, and we're at 13 volts. Here, I'm gonna turn you guys around. .95 volts, okay? That's what we're sitting at right now. And we're gonna see with the solar panel on, okay? And I'm gonna let it down so the sun can cascade across it. There's our sun up above us there. It's gonna get really good coverage for the next 3 or 4 hours, and if we need to move it, we will. But we're gonna check back in about 4 or 5 hours and see exactly where it is on the voltage. And then tomorrow I'll leave the fridge in and let it sit for the same time, and I'll unplug the solar, okay? And then we'll see basically, let me turn you back. Sorry. We'll see basically if there's a difference between having the solar panel and not while the fridge plugged in. Now obviously without the fridge, it's gonna be great. It's just gonna trickle charge, gonna keep my battery topped off. But one thing, I go overlanding, and there may be a day or two or even a half a day where I'm not cranking the vehicle, I'm not driving. Of course, overnight, I don't have anything charging my battery, and so my fridge is draining down my battery. So when I'm waking up in the morning, when I'm making breakfast, the solar panel could be topping off the battery, getting it charged up. We usually don't leave camp till about 9:30, 10 o'clock, so we might gain a little bit of charge time. In the evenings when we stop, 4 or 5 o'clock, we turn the Jeep off. We're still getting a little bit of charge time. I think it's going to make a difference. So let's see what about 4 hours of the solar panel running with the fridge running does. We're at 12.95. We'll come back and check and see where it's at. Let's say in 4 hours, which would be at 4:30. So I'll come back at 4:30 and check it. And then tomorrow we'll do the same exact test. I'll make sure it's charged by driving it home, driving it back. Make sure we start at about the same range. And we'll unplug the solar and see how much it draws it down, and we'll check it out. We are running an Odyssey. It is a deep cycle battery. It is their performance battery, so it's going to be not as quick to drain down as, say, your typical battery. But anyways, that's our test, and let's see how it does. All right, I said 4:30. It's 6:30, so we got 6 hours of it sitting out here in the sun and the fridge running. So let's see what voltage we're at. Now I'll make sure when we do this without the solar panel hooked up that we go 6 hours. So it's a controlled test. I remember that from science class. Okay. 12.8. So we were 12.95 when we originally tested it. And 6 hours later of the fridge running in the back, it got, like I said, 12:30. Now it's 6:27. 12:82. And I actually, just flipping it up, it's grabbing the sun a little bit better because the sun's now starting to go behind me. So 12.83. So I actually got put it in the sun a little better, and it's actually going up a little bit. There's 8.4. You can kind of see the sun's now this way, and I've got the hood up, but the hood's been down all day flat, and it showed 12.8. Even when you call it 4, now 5. We barely dropped. So tomorrow we'll do a test. If we say 0.10 or 0.15, whatever you want to call it. Tomorrow we'll do a test, and basically there's a quick disconnect here for the solar panel. We'll disconnect that. There's the light blinking saying it's charging and the battery's good. We'll do a test tomorrow and see where it's at. It's actually getting sun now and going up. And I'll show you, just so you know, the fridge. Let's open this up. Okay. Fridge is at 37 degrees. Nice and cold. Plugged in. It's been in here all day. So I'll unplug it overnight tonight and plug it back in the morning, drive here, and leave it unplugged for 6 hours. And we'll see what the voltage drop is. Alright guys, it's a new day and we've got the solar panel disconnected and we're gonna see what the drop is. Okay, so we're running. Let me set this up so you guys can see it. All right. I know that's backwards in your video, but 12.92, and we're disconnected from the solar panel. So we're 12.92. It is 11:15. We'll come back out here in 6 hours and we'll see what the voltage drop is without the solar panel on there, and we'll be able to figure out with the solar panel on there how it, in fact, you know, the solar panel is helping me to counteract the draw from the battery. So let's see. All right guys, it's been 6 hours and I'm about to hook up the positive, and let's see what the voltage drop was over 6 hours without the solar panel. Okay, 12.42. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, when we started 6 hours ago, it was 12.9. We'll double check that. All right, guys, it's been 6 hours, and we've got our voltage meter here. Let's see what the voltage drop was after 6 hours without the solar panel attached and the fridge running. Okay. We got 12.43. Now this morning it was 12.92 or 93, right in there. So we've lost about half a volt. Now when we did it with the solar panel attached, we lost 0.10. So quite a big difference in the 6 hour span. If you said we go 12 hours, maybe overnight, maybe you lose a whole volt. You know, depending on the temperatures and depending on what you got your fridge set at. But let's just say we started at 12.9, and I normally check. I usually find the battery at about 11.8 when I go to crank it in the morning. So let's say we went 12 hours during the day and we lost a volt. With the other one, we lose 0.20. You know, if we multiplied it from 6 hours to 12 hours, just basically doubled it, that'd make a huge difference. That means we could probably stay out in the field without cranking the Jeep quite a bit longer, and that's what I'm hoping for. Now this is just one simple test that we're doing. I'd like to, you know, maybe give you guys some updates maybe 6 months, a year from now, and tell you how this thing does after we get mud and dirt and things like that on top of it. But in a quick test just in our parking lot here at Blackberry Off-Road, it looks like it's going to do exactly what we need it to do. So I'm going to give this a thumbs up. I will say I used my buddy Adventure Russ. We filmed while we installed this, and the installation was actually really easy and really simple, and their instructions were really good. The company's been great to work with so far. It's a great looking product. I would definitely recommend it at this point. So that's my review of my installation video of the Cascadia 4x4 85 watt solar panel for the Jeep JL. Now they make solar panels for a lot of other vehicles as well as some other cool products, so check them out online. And you know, I hope there's an adventure in your future. I'm Jeep and Bubba. Eat your prunes. We'll be seeing you guys.